Hello, and welcome back to the KellyCast. Yes, this is your favorite show here on YouTube regarding the NFL, regarding the Buffalo Bills, regarding football. And yes, our picture quality has gone up as my technical producer, Mr. Mike Kelly, has figured out how to get the camera to work once again. So I'm very excited for that. I'm very excited for this to be more visual. Obviously, you see the graphic behind me. I want to thank you for joining me here. We are talking week 2 predictions today. Now, obviously, you saw the results of week 1. Zach and Melissa tied for first, while Kevin ended up at last. Everybody else kind of in between for the rest. But I, of course, am Mr. Dan Kelly. It's a pleasure to have you with me here today. And we are talking Minnesota Vikings and San Francisco 49ers. Okay, so the Vikings are playing host in this game. Both teams 1-0, had a very good week 1. If you look at both of them, the 49ers play bully ball against the New York Jets on Monday Night Football, end up winning 32-19. And then the Minnesota Vikings just destroy the New York Giants 28-6, right? So you look at both these teams and they're completely different, right? You look at San Francisco with all the weapons they have, and then Minnesota losing their quarterback. Obviously, playing the Giants and then playing the 49ers, you're not going to get a very good sense of who you are yet. I think you're going to be searching for that identity for a little bit. But nonetheless, we are here to discuss it. Obviously, the Vikings starting Sam Darnold last week, solid performance, 19-24, 208 yards, 2 touchdowns, and a score. Aaron Jones was really good in his debut with 94 yards, averaging 6.7 per carry. Justin Jefferson scored. Jalen Nailor scored as well. Like I said, the Vikings defense played well. That being said, it was against the New York Giants. Remember, Daniel Jones was paid all that money, and he's thrown more touchdowns to the other team than he has to his own since that contract hit. As I mentioned with the 49ers, they kind of had their way with the Jets. The only problem for them right now is losing Christian McCaffrey. Thank you to my fantasy team, by the way, who have Christian McCaffrey on it, and he did not play. Brock Purdy, solid game, 231 yards, 19 for 29. Jordan Mason, in relief of Christian McCaffrey, played very well, going for almost 150 yards. In this game, I think it's very easy. I'm going to select the San Francisco 49ers over the Minnesota Vikings for the reason that I think they're a more complete team, they're a better coach team, they're a healthier team, and sometimes that's all that matters. Now, the 49ers not a clean bill of health, obviously losing Christian McCaffrey, but the other weapons they have being Brandon Ayuk, George Kittle, Deebo Samuel, Brock Purdy, all of those weapons, I think that the Minnesota Vikings defense is going to have a tough time. Next up, we have an AFC versus NFC matchup, the New England Patriots versus the Seattle Seahawks. Now, both of these teams surprisingly 1-0 right now. Now, Seattle played Denver in week 1. They had a tough time. It was a 1-possession game, but they ended up coming out with the win. And the New England Patriots broke a lot of survivor pools. I've been getting a lot of messages on Joe Burrow and the Cincinnati Bengals performance in week 1. It's nothing new since Burrow's come into the league. He has struggled in September. I believe he is 1-8 in the month of September. So just keep that in mind when you're doing your survivor pools. But we are here to talk Seahawks and Patriots, and I think this is a very interesting matchup between two teams that, quite frankly, aren't going to be great this year. I think they can both be better than they were last year. You've heard me talk about the Seahawks a whole bunch in terms of how their team looks, what they needed to do in the offseason, and I just don't think they went out and made the changes that they needed to make. They won by a score of 26-20 against the Denver Broncos. Geno Smith looked pretty good, 18-25, 171, touchdown and a pick. Kenneth Walker goes over 100. Tyler Lockett proves why he's a great number 2, leading the team in receiving. An interception from Julian Love and Tariq Woolen looks great up against Denver. This week against New England, traveling to Boston, obviously a Super Bowl rematch. There's some hard feelings there. And for the Patriots, just how did they get past the Bengals? How did it happen? I think it all comes down to that fumble at the goal line. It kind of swung the momentum the Patriots' way. New head coach Gerard Mayo got his first win in week 1. Happy for him. I think, he's going to be a really good head coach in this league, but I don't think the Patriots are going to have continued success, at least for a little bit. We'll have to see, obviously. I mean, I think they can beat the Seattle Seahawks. I think it is possible, especially being that they are hosting them. Let's take a look at their numbers from week 1. We have Jacoby Brissett, 15 of 24, 121 yards, no touchdowns, no picks. Ramondre Stevenson, as pictured, goes 120 yards and a score. In terms of the receiving game, it was an everybody eats mentality. Austin Hooper, Tyquan Thornton, KJ Osborne, Hunter Henry, some names that caught some passes. And on defense, Jawan Bentley led the team in tackles. If you'd like to see the rest of the KellyCast predictions, they, of course, will be over on the Facebook page at the KellyCast. But for me, for right now, Seahawks at Patriots, I am going to take the Seattle Seahawks. I think that team is a veteran team facing a very young team in the New England Patriots, a young head coach, a guy who is new to the league, obviously, and kind of adjusting. He's going to have to make some more adjustments on the fly as the season goes on. But I'm going to select the Seattle Seahawks in this one. Next up, an NFC East battle, two teams that are searching for their first win here in 2024, the New York Giants and the Washington Commanders. Now, notice that out of all the players I could have chosen for the New York Giants, the person that made my graphic was Graham Gano. Now, I tried to pick offense and defense for each team, the best player, the best performance, whoever had the most yards and most touchdowns, or however it seemed to me. But the Giants did not have anybody, and I was kind of debating on how I wanted to go with this, but I ended up choosing Graham Gano because he was the only one who put up points for the team. On the other side, Washington Commanders quarterback Jaden Daniels had his first start. Now, he left a lot to be desired in terms of the passing game, but he did lead his team in rushing, so that is a very interesting stat, especially for you fantasy guys who might have Jaden Daniels on your team. It shows a different part of his game. The Commanders lost to the Buccaneers 37-20 in week 1. Thought it was going to be a little bit more competitive, but Daniels not bad. 17-24, 184 in the passing game. And in the rushing game, he went 16 for 88 with 2 rushing touchdowns. Eckler was their leading receiver, 4 receptions for 52 yards. Overall, just a little disappointed with the way the Commanders played. I understand they're a young team. It's going to take some time. Maybe I jumped the gun by picking them against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, but I think they might fare a little bit better this week against the New York Giants, who, as we mentioned earlier, got stomped 28-6 last week in week 1 of the NFL season against the Minnesota Vikings. And the Vikings do not have a great quarterback right now, being Sam Darnold. Giants, Daniel Jones, 22 of 42, 2 picks, one of them being a pick 6, 186 yards. Their leading rusher, Devin Singletary, for 37 yards. Malik Neighbors, 5 receptions for 66. I've said it before. I'll say it again. I feel bad for the Rook, not because he's not talented, but because his quarterback is Daniel Jones. I understand, right, giving a young player a chance. This is year 6 of Daniel Jones. You already gave him a contract that he didn't deserve. It's almost that time to cut ties. It's almost that time to see what you have behind him, if anything. I understand the 2024 season is very long and there's still a lot of time. I don't know what's going to change with Daniel Jones, and being that the Commanders are the home team in this matchup, I am going to select the Washington Commanders for the rest of the KellyCast crew. And Mike, please check our Facebook page at the KellyCast for the rest of those predictions. But until then, I'll be seeing you in the next one. Take it easy.